Hey there guys, let's say you want to reload. You have your press, you got your dies, you have your brass, your bullets, and your powder. But you don't have any primers. Primers are harder and harder to come by nowadays, and whenever you do find them at the store, you're limited in how many you can buy if they're still even there. So what I have here is an example of two primers that are used. As you can tell, this one has been struck and so has this one, and the priming compound has burnt up and left this black carbon residue. And these two primers are brand new primers that have not been struck yet. You could see that yellow priming compound and how clean and neat that inside, what I like to call anvil, is, the ones with the 3 petals. Here is a closer look of 2 of the 3 components needed to reload or make a primer, or what a primer is actually consists of. A primer consists of 3 components, as you can see here: the cup, the petals, or what I like to call the anvil, and the third compound or ingredient not seen here is the compound. And we will get to that later. So these are large pistol primers and small pistol primers, and this is an example of a large pistol primer, spent pistol primer, and a spent small pistol primer with their corresponding anvils next to them. So basically, take any matchsticks and you're gonna cut off the head or grind it up, and then use a little bit of acetone or denatured alcohol with the help of a eyedropper to pack it into one of the spent primers that you actually fixed up. The second way is to use this 4 bags of priming compound. I'll leave it out of the video for now, but originally I bought it to reprime 22 long rifle brass, because kind of wanted to mock up my own rounds, but that's a story for a different day. As you can see here, I already have some large pistol primer, small pistol primers, and they have actually been fixed up. As you can see, that's the inside of it, and that is the backside where the cup has been flattened out, and you could barely tell that it has been struck before. So these are some spent primers that I got out after using my depriming die here, and its word of advice is try to deprime all large pistol calibers and all small pistol calibers, and same thing with our large rifle and small rifle primers, so that you actually have only one set of primers, so that when you do reload your primers, you actually have that straight, where you have all large pistol and all small pistol primers separate. It's important because large rifle primers could take more pressure than large pistol primers, so that's just a caveat or a nuance that you gotta keep in mind. So the first step in actually repriming is to flatten out the firearm pin strike. As you can see, this punch is inside this priming cup and it's slightly loose. So I found that sub caliber punches, or slightly smaller than the actual cup, did a better job than a punch that filled up the whole cup, because this punch was the same size or snug and I started hammering, it would get stuck and I'll have to use like the backside of the hammer to kind of pull it off of the punch. And another thing is, if I use a punch that was like almost the same size or fit snugly inside the cup, Another thing is when I did go ahead and like hammer and flatten it out, the as you can see here, the edge of this would actually not be as round. It would be flat and kind of squared off and hard. And whenever I'm hammering, I tend to kind of row or hammer on different sides, try to keep the curve of the primer cup. Alright, so as you can see, this one is relatively flat now. That indentation is barely visible, and the inside of the cup, that's what really matters, is it's flat. There's barely any dent there, which is good. So I'm pretty sure you're familiar with matches, and you kind of know that you can't really just scrape them across any kind of surface or apply too much friction force, or else it's gonna actually catch fire. Wooden masher. But it seems like it doesn't really matter with this small amount of material. It's not really gonna flash, and if it did, like, it's not gonna be too bad. Like you can see, these are an actual match. One drop should be enough, but just to make sure. Kind of missed on that one, but so that one is completely wet. There's no way it's gonna ignite. And next up is placing this little anvil inside or on top of it. I just kind of press it in a little bit. So the next up is these chemicals right here from a company that sells the reloading chemicals. So these are the instructions. So basically it's telling me to mix 2 large scoops of this. A large scoop of this bag. And the company doesn't really tell you what isn't actually inside these bags, but the chemicals are, but I just know that they work. Then I'll do the rest and get back with you guys again. Alright, so I'm just mixing up all 4 of the chemicals